the next couple, and that's going to be a Kirsten and Shaq. And this week, like I told y'all, this is the king and queens of the flip. That's what I'm calling this whole week. That's what they should have named this whole episode of this week. Kings and Kings of the Flip. Like I said, Airris is the founding organizer of this social club called the Kings and Queens of the Flip. And let me tell you, Kirsten is giving him a run for his money because she is the queen of the flip. And when I talk about the flip, y'all, I'm talking about when you blame what's wrong with you on other people. And you don't have to do none of your own work. And all you do is keep coming up with suggestions on what the other person should do so you can stay just where you are because you're not the problem, they the problem. When you got messed up emotions and you don't know how to love and you don't know how to open your mouth and you don't know how to talk and you don't know how to solve problems, you know the best way to stay there, you start telling other people what they need to do. The reason I don't talk to you, Deborah, is because you got on a green shirt. Or when you change your shirt, maybe I'll talk to you. You go out and you change your green shirt. You come back and they come up with another reason. Well, the reason I don't want to talk to you is because your hair is all in your face. They keep you running around fixing stuff about yourself and they don't have to do a doggone thing. And let me tell you, that's who Kirsten is. Kirsten is the queen of the flip. The queen of the flip. Zero accountability. I'm talking zero. And this episode was horrendous. You know, this episode opens up and it shows Kirsten once again with no homemaking skills. She don't even know how to repot a plant. Woo, 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 people, I tell you. So now we know she don't know how to decorate a house. She doesn't know how to source furniture. Talking about COVID. That was whatever. Okay, that's another excuse. Like I said, everything Kirsten doesn't know how to do, she blames it on other things. Why don't you have any furniture? Oh, because it was COVID and the furniture takes 6 weeks to get here. Girl, you ain't ordering. She act like she importing furniture or coming from Italy and all these other kind of places. Girl, you could have easily gone down to any department store anywhere and got you a nightstand. Give me a break. A nightstand. We're not talking about you had to have a nice furniture. You could have had anything from IKEA or Walmart, Target. Anywhere you can go and get you Amazon. You could have gone anywhere and had you a nightstand. And you talking about everything takes 6 months. That ain't true. Amazon got Amazon Prime, a 2-day delivery. She act like we fools. And then we figured out she don't know how to mop a floor. And then we found out she don't know how to decorate for a party. I don't even think Kirsten knows how to cook. We ain't seen her cook nothing. And now we know she didn't know how to pick out a plant at the local nursery. And now she don't even know how to repot a plant. Oh, but she got 2 degrees, a master's and a bachelor. Oh, I don't know if I want to scream and shake Kirsten, if I want to just give her a hug. You know, part of me, the auntie in me wants to go over and say, girl, come on over here. Come on over here. Come on, Kirsten. Give me a hug, girl. But if we're going to make progress, we have to stop the flip. We have to stop pointing out things in other people. And it doesn't even mean that some of the things she may point out are not true. Sometimes they are true and sometimes they are valid, what she says, but that's not the point. The point isn't to keep making other people better. The point is to make you better. Because even though if you point out something in someone else, it does make them better. But what happens is it doesn't make you better. This is why you don't grow. So what will happen is, let's say you're the type of person that every time you're with a person, when something is wrong in a situation, you know, maybe your relationship is going poorly, whatever, what you do is you tend to point out what they did wrong. Now, they might have done those things wrong. They might be doing it wrong. They may have that problem you point out. So it's not that you're lying, but what you do is you point it out in them. So let me tell you what happens. Walk with me, people. What happens is you're actually sharpening them. It does look critical in the beginning, but what you're also doing is you're sharpening them. But you know who you're not sharpening? Yourself, because you've taken a zero accountability. So then what happens is during the relationship, all you do is point out what they need to do differently, what they do wrong. That's what you do. And the next thing you know, the relationship becomes contentious because that person gets tired of you taking zero accountability and blaming them for everything. So, but during that relationship, they actually started working on things about themselves. You know why? Because they were conscientious. They did listen to you. They did say, you know what, that is a part of a problem with me. I am going to work on that. So you're in a relationship with them for a year, 2 years. They work on those things. By 2 years, what they realize is, dang, I actually have done a lot of growth. And guess what? You, the person who likes to blame, hasn't done any growth. None. So then you break up. That person goes on to a new relationship. So when they show up in the new relationship, they're actually a better person thanks to you, because you were so critical of them, always telling them what they did wrong. They actually grew and got better. They go on to the next relationship and they come in that relationship better. So their new partner gets a better version of them thanks to you. But when you go into your next relationship, guess what you haven't done? Grown. Because you never accepted any accountability. You never grew. You never changed. So all your partners get better and better and better and better, but you stay the same. This is what happens when women will say, you know what, all the men I date, somehow or another after me, they get married. This was what was Jasmina's problem a couple of seasons ago. Remember, Jasmina used to tell the story that she seemed like she was the person who got men ready for marriage because she would date them, and then next thing you know, his next girlfriend or wife, he would marry that woman. What Jasmina was so critical, took zero accountability. What she was really good at was pointing out everybody's flaws, sharpening you, making you a better person. So when you left the relationship with her, you went on, and the next one was like, oh, dang, he a wonderful man. I thank you, Jasmina. But Jasminas of the world, the Kirstens of the world, they stay the same. They don't grow. Because they're too focused on sharpening other people, trying to make other people better, so that way they can sit back and do nothing and take a zero accountability. That's why Kirsten is here now at 32, doesn't know how to mop a floor, doesn't know how to cook, doesn't know how to throw a dinner party and decorate a house and be ready on time, and doesn't know how to repot a plant. Because probably when someone probably tried to tell her about it, she blamed them for it. But you know what Kirsten knows how to do? She knows how to hang out with a girlfriend. She knows how to have a good time. Kirsten is a lot of talk around women. She loves to talk to women. But where she has her problem is with men. It's the same thing Gina said in her clip. Gina's going to talk about it next week. Gina's going to say, I was raised by a single mother, and so I know how to get along with women well. I know how to open up to women. I know how to have conversation with women. But when it comes to men, I struggle. That's what I'm explaining to you. Kirsten's problems go back to her family life. They go back to that daddy. I'm quite sure Kirsten knows how to have good relationships with women and ladies. She's in a sorority. She probably got a lot of sorority sisters, a lot of friends. When she's with the ladies, she knows how to laugh and have a good time. But I'm telling you, she struggles with men in relationships because men pose a different type of threat to her, which she views as a threat, and that's why she has a problem with it. Remember when she and Shaq went roller skating, and Shaq was talking about, I want to know all of you. I want to know Kristen the daughter, Kristen the sister, or Kristen the girlfriend, Kristen the this. And then he says, I want to get to know your family, your mother, your father, your friends. Did you see the look on Kirsten's face when he started talking about, I want to know your family? She looked scared. She does not want Shaq to meet anybody in her family. None. She don't want anybody. Her daddy didn't even want to come to her wedding. Her family, her mama barely wanted to be on camera too. That's why she was late to that little makeup session before the wedding. We didn't really see her brother. None of them wanted to be on camera. At the after party last week, Kirsten was talking about she has so much pressure on her to be perfect because she thinks she needs to be the role model for her brothers and sisters. Why? Your mom and daddy aren't role models? Sure, you want to be a role model. Everyone does. But why is there so much pressure? Are there no other role models in your family? Is all the pressure on you to be the role model? There are no other successful people in your family, people who are living right, doing things the right way, where you don't have to be the complete role model for your brothers and sisters? What's going on, Kirsten? I'm telling you, Kirsten's life is in chaos in the background, and this is part of why she doesn't want anyone to see it, especially a man. She doesn't want a man to get close to it because she's afraid that if a man got close, he would judge her for it, and then he would reject her. But I don't know, all you guys think Kirsten somehow is all about the attraction. It's not that. People think when Kirsten is saying, I want you near me, I want you to talk to me, I want you to coddle me, I want you to come closer to me, you guys think Kirsten is faking it. She is not faking it. I told you earlier on that all the pickiness was not a way to push you away. The pickiness was to draw you near. The pickiness was so you'd keep working harder. That is the problem right now. Shaq is giving up, and what Kirsten is now complaining about is you're moving away from me, Shaq. You should be coming closer to me. You should be holding me more. You should be talking to me more. You should be doing all these things more. And it feels like mixed signals, but if you think about it, it isn't mixed signals. She was the baby. The pickiness is the baby crying. The baby isn't crying because the baby wants you to leave her alone on the couch by herself. The baby is crying because she wants you to pick her up. She wants you to put her on your lap. She wants you to play with her. Right? She wants you to rock her. She wants you to coddle her. She wants you to feed her. That's why the baby's crying. The baby ain't crying because the baby wants to be independent and left alone. This is Kirsten. This isn't a lie. This is really who she is. This is why I'm telling you, she needs some help to figure all this out. And people should stop saying she's being fake and phony and she's playing for the cameras. She's not. This is who she really is. She told you that it was a problem in her last relationship that she didn't open up in the relationship. She told you that the last man cheated on her. He was with her for 4 years, that they lived together. He probably did cheat on her because it was probably like, I can't get nothing from you. She probably was withholding a sex from him and probably blaming it on his inches. Because she knows how to flip things and she knows how to blame you for it, even if there is some truth to what she's saying. Now, this is what I'll give her credit for, some of her truth. I don't really see Shaq actually doing romantic things with Kirsten. Now, I understand why he's not doing them because how it started, because what she did was she used that pickiness and that I'm going to talk about your looks to keep you away. It's the same thing Gina did over there with Clint. We're going to get to that video. But people who are afraid of you getting close to them emotionally, one of the things they do is they come up with these tactics to keep you away. And the best way to keep a person away, I'm telling you, is with a put down. The best way to keep a person away from you is with a put down. And Gina started her marriage off with a put down. Kirsten started her marriage with a put down. And Airris started her marriage with a put down. They are the kings and queens of put down because really what's happening is these people do not want closeness. They're afraid of emotional connections. And the put downs, the pickiness keeps you away. It is their guard. It is their shield. It is their wall. It's a Uzi. You come close, I'm going to fire off some put downs on you to keep you away. That's what Kirsten is doing. But I will say this. I understand why Shaq has been hesitant to really go forward. But if you look at just Shaq all by himself, I'm telling you guys, he actually doesn't do a lot to really chase Kirsten. He doesn't do too much. I'm going to say this. And I understand it, one, because of what Kirsten did, but I also think it is a part of who Shaq is. I told you guys that Shaq and Kirsten were very, very much alike. Very much alike. Now, the question is going to be, are the areas in which they are alike, do they do well? A lot of you thought Kirsten should be with Airris. No, they shouldn't. Because Kirsten and Airris suffer from the same thing, and that is that they are scared of emotional intimacy. So all they would do in a relationship is keep blaming each other. That's all they would do. It wouldn't work. You can't have two fearful people to come close. Even Kirsten said to Shaq in this episode, you're pulling away, Shaq. We can't have two people pulling away, because what she said was, that's the role I occupy. What she's telling him is, you can't be the one pulling away because that's my job. I need you to keep coming forward no matter what. No matter if I'm standing still. No matter if I'm taking baby steps. No matter if I'm going backwards, Shaq. I need you to always keep coming forward. I need you to keep coming forward. And that's the same thing Airris is doing to Jasmin. They expect people to keep coming forward even when they're standing still, moving slow, taking baby steps, or going backwards. And here's the problem whereby a Shaq has a more difficult time with this than most. Because I am telling you, the reason Shaq has been out here single in this world is because he is also not a pursuer. Y'all keep thinking it's because he's so-called, maybe he's got some sugar in his tank. No, he's a fraternity boy. Okay, he's a fraternity boy, and he likes the idea of women chasing him as well. Let's get it clear. He likes to be chased by women too. And he's probably been chased by women because Shaq has things in which women would be attracted to him. He has a good job. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's a decent looking man, no matter if you think whatever. I don't care what number you give him. He was in a fraternity. Okay, it sounds like he might have gone to an HBCU. You don't think there was women going after a Shaq? There were. But you know what Shaq was? He was picky like Kirsten, and he was too good for them. And what he does is he was blaming things like, oh, my job is why I can't have a relationship. No, he's picky. He's just as picky, but he's used to women putting a whole lot of effort to track him down, calling him when he's busy at work, telling him, I'm busy at work, I'll give you a call back. He's used to his texts blowing up. He's used to women hunting him down. And now he got this woman, Kirsten, over here, and not even giving him the time of day, telling him he needs to chase her. This is an uncomfortable position for Shaq because he's never been here either. So the one thing I'll give a credit for Kirsten is she is pointing out that he doesn't do a whole lot of chasing either because he hasn't had to in the past. He hasn't had to in the past. And so now Kirsten is over here saying, I need a more from you. This is what they share in common. I'm telling you, people, sometimes things in common can work against you in a relationship, and sometimes it can work better. I still think these two could make a good couple. But right now, what's going on is now that Kirsten has made some baby steps, now that she is giving him pecks on the lips. Later on, I guess we see next week, she going to actually tongue him down and give him a tongue kiss. But now what you got is you got the ego of Shaq is all hurt. Because he's an after party, y'all, and he says it. He says, right now, all of a sudden, before you didn't want me, and now you all up on me. You know that song? Before you didn't want me, and now you all up on me. And now Shaq he's trying to now play the ego card. And now what he's going to start doing is he's going to be on some get back ego stuff and going to be like, nah, Kirsten, you didn't want me before, and now you want me. Ego. Even her girlfriend says, I don't understand how Shaq isn't doing these things you say, Kirsten, because at the wedding, he was all over you. Even her friends know these stories aren't adding up with Kirsten. If you notice what Kirsten does is she tells one story to one person and then another story. In the after party, Airris tells a story that Kirsten told Jasmin that, hey, all that Shaq needs to do is light a candle and turn on some R&B music. Now, we all know that's a lie. So what Kirsten is doing in front of Jasmin is trying to make it seem like it is Shaq's fault that there's no intimacy. That's what she's saying now. So what you notice is no matter where she is, she tells a different story. And each time, depending on where she is, she twists the story to blame another person for why there's no intimacy. And so how the heck can all he need to do is light a candle and turn on some R&B music and you aren't even doing anything else with him? She's lying. She's lying because she doesn't want people to know that the intimacy issues are really mainly her intimacy issues. She's got intimacy issues. Shaq may have ego issues. He definitely does. He wants a woman probably to chase him a little bit more. He definitely has ego issues. But Kirsten has intimacy issues. Those are two different things. Shaq has an ego problem and Kirsten has an intimacy issue. Like Kirsten said, you're not supposed to just walk in the house and just say hi and not come over, give me a hug and a kiss. Well, Kirsten, why don't you get up when he comes into the house and you walk over to him and give him a hug, a kiss? That's what I do to my husband. If I'm at home and my husband walks in the door and I'm sitting on the couch, I don't stay sitting on the couch and then expect my husband necessarily to come in, walk in, and bend down and give me a hug and a kiss. No, I get up and walk over and give him a hug and a kiss. It's called greeting at the door. Where do you think the saying came from? Greet me at the door. It is you putting forth the effort to get up, walk to the door, and welcome the person home or in the house. When guests come over, do you sit on the couch and wait for the guests to come in your door and walk over to you? No, Kirsten, you get up. It's like I told you, she wasn't even ready to throw no house party. She don't even know how to greet a man when he come home. She talking about he needs to come home and give her a hug and kiss. No, you need to get up and walk over to him and give him a hug and a kiss. Good Lord, this woman has it all backwards, and she loves to blame other people for stuff she should be doing. She like, both people can't have walls up, so then it's your job to get the walls down, Shaq, and not hers. Like I tell you, the queen of flip. The queen of flip. If Airris is the founder, she's now the CEO of the company. Founder and CEO of the Queen and Kings of Flip, Kirsten. You see this little skating party that they have for their 30-day anniversary? I thought it was a party. I thought that was fun. Kirsten let go. She had some fun. She was doing her little tricks on it. She was having a good time skating, all that kind of stuff. That's Kirsten's element. I'm telling you, Kirsten knows how to party. You remember her at the strip club. She was all up on the necks. She knows how to party. Her problems are intimacy issues with men. But she knows how to party. She's a sorority girl. She's been to plenty of them. She knows how to get down. You saw her on that dance floor. Kirsten knows how to get down. But as long as it don't involve sharing no feelings and digging into her background, you can have a really good time. But the minute you start talking about sharing feelings, intimacy, and asking her about her background and her family life, mums is the word. Mom is the word. And you know she's going to flip it on you real quick to get off that subject. Kirsten says she letting her walls down a bit by bit. Girl, she moving as slow as a turtle. Slow as a turtle. But you know what? It probably feels like big moves to Kirsten. She probably feels like she's making big strides because she probably never has moved this fast in any relationship. 30 days, she's talking about the stuff you getting from me, Shaq, in 30 days, it probably has taken me three months to get here with other men. That's why Kirsten is out here single. Ain't no man waiting this long for a kiss on the cheek or a kiss on the lips or some tongue. No man out there is waiting this long for that. I don't care how nice her body is. I don't care how cute she is. That man is going to be on to other stuff, dating other women, sleeping with other women, why he's calling her, and then she's going to be like, well, I don't want to talk to you because I already know you talking to other women. He ain't putting all his eggs in a Kirsten. Who would? She's too much of a risk. When Shaq sat up there and said, you put me on blast at that dinner, that's something we should be talking about behind closed doors. Why didn't you tell me you felt that way? Kirsten said, because you didn't ask. I'm telling you, the queen of the flip, Kirsten said, because you didn't ask. Are you kidding me? You know what? I'm not even privy to all their conversations, and I have seen Shaq ask Kirsten plenty of times about her feelings, and she wants to tell me that Shaq hasn't asked her enough. She said the reason I didn't tell you before is because you didn't ask, and next time you should ask. If you want to know something about my feelings, then you need to ask. So she takes no responsibility that if she has an emotion or she has a feeling that she should talk first. I'm telling you, the queen of the flip. The queen of the flip and zero accountability. Kirsten ain't going to grow one bit if she doesn't start taking accountability. Even if these two don't stay together, she needs to leave this relationship a better person, which means she cannot keep doing what she does in relationships, and that is the queen of the flip. She's got to learn to take accountability, and this idea that she's letting the wall down, she's doing it too slowly. She needs to do it faster. She's doing it at the pace she wants to do it at, and the truth of the matter is she needs to do it at a pace that's better. She needs to up her game. She may be comfortable with this pace and saying, well, I'm working on it, but that's too slow. That's too slow. She needs to come out of her comfort zone, and she needs to start doing things that are uncomfortable because that's where her real growth is going to come. And right now, she doesn't want to do anything that's uncomfortable to her. Nothing. And like Shaq said, it's always about Kirsten, because what it's about with Kirsten is always about Kirsten's safety and comfortableness. That's what it's about. In other areas of Kirsten's life, you can see how Kirsten actually is a giver. Because I do think a Kirsten will be the type of person where she would love to do things for Shaq, like that spa day that she gave him. I think Kirsten is a giver in those areas. But where Kirsten isn't a giver in is in her emotions. That's where she's protective. That's where she's not going to give anything of herself. But if it's about going out, if it's about maybe buying you something transactional, if it's about maybe doing other things, she may be a giver in those areas because those don't involve emotions. Those don't involve really opening up your soul. In that area of intimacy and her soul, she's going to be very guarded, protective, and stingy with that. And that is really what Shaq is talking about when he's saying it's all about Kirsten what Kirsten wants on Kirsten's timeline. And he's correct about that. But the other problem is going to be that Shaq also has that part of him, like I said, where he's used to women chasing him, and he doesn't have the sharpest skills in chasing a woman, right? I do think he needs to, in and of itself, he probably needs a bit more of chasing a woman and considering a woman's feelings. Because like I said, when he did that thing about going to that seminar and told Kirsten, you just gonna come with me, that showed you the sign where Shaq is used to doing what he wants to do. When he said, I didn't take the job and I turned it down but didn't talk to Kirsten, that's another sign where it shows you what Shaq is used to doing what he wants to do. Okay, so what Kirsten is mentioning, that is a part of Shaq as well, but he's not the bigger problem. See, that's the thing. We all got problems. We all got parts we need to work on. And Shaq has areas he needs to work on. But the bigger problem in this relationship is not Shaq. The biggest problem is the queen of the flip, and that's Kirsten. And now we're moving on to Chris and Nicole. And like I said, this week, we're talking about the kings and queens of the Flip Club. Airris is the founder. Kirsten is the CEO. And another one of its members is Nicole. And I'm going to tell you, this is one of my pet peeves out here in the world. When people try to make other people develop different habits so that they can stay where they are. All this talk around Chris needing big D energy. This father over here telling him he needs big D energy. He needs to grow a pair. He needs to do this. Why? So that he can deal with freight trains like Nicole. So he can deal with women or people who overinsert themselves in people's lives or talk out of turn or say things they shouldn't say. So you need big D energy to handle a woman like Nicole. No. This is the kind of stuff I fight back against in my own life. Okay? Because as you guys know, I don't really like to do a whole lot of fighting. Don't mean I can't. It doesn't mean I can't when I need to, but I don't like it. I don't like to stay in that space for long periods of time. And one of the things I noticed about people who are aggressive and people who are assertive and people who like to run over you and be freight trains, one of the common things that they like to do is that when they want to keep going and you want to walk away, they like to put you down and tell you you need to be tougher. You need big D energy. To me, there's nothing wrong with Chris, because I really haven't seen Chris get run over by Nicole. But now what we're talking about is when Nicole asserts herself in order to put that dog down, they're telling Chris he needs more big D energy. No, why don't we start with that Nicole needs to learn how to regulate herself? Why do I need big D energy to regulate you? See, this is why Nicole found herself over there with a man burning her with a cigarette. Because when you start encouraging people to get more aggressive with you, that's a very dangerous place to go into. I would never tell the husband of any of my kids or daughters, whatever the case may be, that, oh, you need big D energy with her and you need to put her in her place. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You pull the daughter aside and you tell the daughter, listen, you don't need to be inflaming the toxic masculine side of a man so that he always has to use an aggressive and strong arm with you. You need to learn how to regulate yourself. When you start thinking, oh, he needs a big D energy with me, that's when you know you out of line. That's when you know you out of line. That's when you know maybe I need to tone my stuff down. This is the same thing that men who are really aggressive, when men are really overly aggressive, when they're so-called, you got a lot of men who walk around talking about the alpha males. I'm alpha male. One of the things they like to tell women all the time is you need to be more feminine. Because what they're saying is you don't need to challenge my alpha maleness. Right? Now, I'm not saying that some women don't need to be more feminine. They do. But what it's also saying is, why can't you also tone your stuff down? Why do I have to be on the ground cowering in order for you to go down. Because what they're telling you is, hey, I'm not going to let my foot off the gas until you relent to me. The opposite is also the problem. Why can't people regulate their own negative energies, their overly assertive energies, their over aggressive energies? You're not going to put all the work on me all the time. Not all the time. There's going to need to be a bigger and better balance. But I'm going to tell you what's not going to be. I'm not going to be in charge of always regulating the energy in the household. No. Learn how to regulate yourself. But I will tell you one thing. They talk about how your dogs are a reflection of you. And Chris's dogs are wild. Wild. So he doesn't really regulate other people. He doesn't give other people boundaries. He doesn't give other people don't step outside this boundary. He probably doesn't give Nicole boundaries because he doesn't give any boundaries to those dogs. Those dogs are wild. They're all over the furniture, all over the couch, all over the bed. They rule that house. They do whatever the hell they want to do. And now we know why Chris was crying when he thought there'll be no one to keep my dogs, because no one's keeping those dogs. No one's keeping those dogs, not because they're aggressive and they're mean. No one's keeping those dogs because they're not trained well. Now, when you talk about a big D energy, he may need some for those dogs because those dogs are running him. He ain't even the king of his own pack. Them dogs is the king of that pack. Those dogs are nice. They're friendly. They're loving. They're just like Chris. Nice, friendly, loving dogs, right? They're not aggressive or to any other dogs. They don't have any dog aggression. They're not aggressive to other people. They're very friendly, but they're untrained. They're hopping all over that couch. And pretty soon what's going to happen is that's going to be Nicole. That's going to be Nicole. So that's why they're telling him, you better have some big D energy, because just like these dogs is hopping and running all over this house, all over this couch, all over your bed, that's going to be Nicole. If you don't rein her in, if you don't give her some boundaries, she going to take over this whole thing. This whole thing. Well, with dogs, they're animals. So I could see how I would need to bring some big D energy and assert myself. But Nicole is a grown ass woman. She should have a better control over herself. Y'all should watch my video for the after party, because Shaq tells a story that not only was Nicole inserting herself at this dinner into other people's lives, Nicole slips notes under the door of Kirsten and Shaq and tells them what to do in their marriage. Hey, Shaq, don't forget to hug or kiss your wife tonight before you go to bed. Don't forget to do this. Nicole is all over the place. Nicole wants to run everyone's lives. She wants to run Chris's life. She wants to run the marriage of Kirsten and Shaq. She wants to run the marriage of Airris and what's the robot's name? She wants to run the marriage of Airris and Jasmin. She oversteps her bounds. She oversteps her bounds. She better learn how to control that. He better, you know what? He better get a couple of muzzles. He better get a muzzle from them dogs at his house, and he might need to get a muzzle for that wife of his. Don't bring your energy. Don't bring that assertive, aggressive energy. Just bring a muzzle. But now we know where she got this energy from. She got it from her dad. Remember she said FBI? She said she was FBI, Italian, full-blooded Italian. I couldn't remember who was the Italian. Maybe it's the dad that's the Italian. Maybe the mom's not Italian. But you can definitely tell that she was close with her dad, and this a big D energy and this full-blooded Italian, this assertiveness, she got it from her father. She channeled her father. She definitely didn't channel her mom, because if he's walking around with all this energy, more than likely the mother is a bit more mild-mannered, submissive. And what Nicole decided was she wasn't going to be her mama in the relationship, because her mama probably might have got run over a bit. And she decided when she got older, she was going to be the opposite. And she took on the role of her daddy. And now she's coming into relationships with men actually being her daddy. And now she wants the men to be even more. You set up an abusive situation. Now I actually can see how she got into abusive situations with men, because she actually, not only does she challenge people a lot, she actually she can actually encourage that energy to come her way. I don't like to blame victims, so don't call this a victim blaming, but you can be a contributor. I'm not going to give you all the blame, but you actually can contribute. So when you walking around here thinking it's not you that needs to tone it down, but everyone else needs to be aggressive. But then when I am aggressive, it borderlines abusive. And now you walk around talking about you were abused. Girl, be different. Be different. Like I said, this club, this King of Queens of Flip, she's a member of it because she loves how to flip what is her work on a Chris. Chris needs that energy with them dogs for sure, though. He definitely needs that energy with them dogs. And the dogs are wild, wild. But of all the anniversary celebrations, I like theirs the best. I love the helicopter ride. And shoot, I was noticing, I was like, a Chris over here talking about he's not used to women as thick as Nicole. He thick around the waist. He is a thick around the waist. I tell you, people, Lord have mercy. Chris, I think Chris might have been even bigger before. He might have lost a lot of weight. I think he might have lost a lot of weight. So now maybe he feels comfortable talking about other people's weight. But he thick around the waist. She talking about she gonna gain weight when she gets pregnant. So is he. He gonna gain that pregnancy weight just like her. She gonna gain her 50, 60 pounds and he gonna gain 20. You can see it coming. He already looked like he a little bit pregnant, at least 2 months. When he told her she's thicker than what she's used to, she should have said, "Yo, so are you." She should have said, "So are you. You got a tie around your waist just like I do." It's a good thing that Chris isn't the type of person that picks on Nicole and says things like, points out her flaws because she does enough of it on her own. She loves to point out her own flaws. And come to find out, she's got a lot of them. So I agree with her that wasn't the best wedding picture. I do agree with her. And I think she said that champagne had gone all over her before she was ready to walk down the aisle. So when she walked down the aisle, her hair was flat, her makeup had run, they had to touch it up, and she did have raccoon eyes. So I understand how she was disappointed in those pictures, but I don't understand how she keeps harping on it. She's harping on it too much. Too much. But like I tell you, in this Queen and King of Flip this week, one of the things people like to do is they like to outwardly tell you what you need to do because it really is protecting them from things about themselves. And Nicole absolutely has some body insecurities, which she's admitted it. She has some. She has a lot of them. And so she's going to need to work through that. But I think these two can make it. And the reason why I think these two can make it is because I think that they have enough things about them that can counteract some of the things going on. And I think that over time, they can get better. As long as Nicole doesn't keep putting all the work on Chris with this whole big D energy and all this stuff, and she takes accountability for herself, then I think they can be okay. But he may have to get a muzzle. Don't bring the big D energy, but just get a muzzle. Get a cold word. She said it was pineapple. He might need to get a bunch of pineapples and start using that word more because she's starting to get a little bit out of hand and all this talk at dinner and other people's business and everything going on. He should have been screaming the word, a pineapple, pineapple, a pineapple. So let's move forward and talk about Airris and Jasmin. Now, if any of you guys watch my videos every week, you know I don't like Airris. You know I don't like Airris. You know that if I was giving a party and you was like, "Girl, who are you inviting?" You know a darn well Airris is not going to be on my invite list. He's not going to be nowhere on there, and this week was no exception. I'm telling you, watch all my videos this week because this week I'm talking about the kings and queens of the flip. And I'm talking about people who don't take zero accountability and everything that's wrong with them, they blaming you for it. Well, let me tell you, the founder of that king and queens of flip, the founder was Airris, robot Airris, and this week was no exception because once again, here we are blaming and telling Jasmin she needs to be something different, something more, because he's the one with all the mental blockage and all the other stuff going on. So before, she needed a big booty like Serena and Lauren London. This week, she needs a vibe. I tell you, everything he keeps coming up with, his ideas, is what can Jasmin do to make me more attracted to her? And really what he needs to be doing is looking around his neck at that necklace, looking at that obituary and realizing he needs to go and sit on a therapist couch because the blockage for Airris, especially when it involves the area of sex, is huge. Anytime Airris gets uncomfortable, anytime Airris doesn't want to start talking about his real feelings, There's two things he does. He looks away in space like a robot. And then he says, oh, let's talk about sex. Robotic sex. This is his default conversation. This is where he feels comfortable. This is what he likes to talk about because he's comfortable there. Robotic sex, R&B videos, all this kind of stuff. He doesn't want to talk about emotions and feelings. And you know the way he gets you off of him? You know the way he gets you to stop talking to him about his emotions? He brings up sex. That's what he does. He brings it up sex because a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that either. So the way Airris gets you to get off of him talking about his emotions, he asks you a sex question. That's his modus of operandi. That's what he likes to do. And it doesn't matter who tries to hold him accountable. It doesn't matter who tries to tell him, well, what's your plan? What's your plan? He don't have one. He does not have one. Even when he was sitting there with his friend and he was telling his friend, man, we ain't, his friend was like, where are you with Jasmin? Are you even on first base? He said, first base? I'm still sitting in the parking lot with my uniform on. We haven't even made it to first, second, or third base or nowhere. We do see that they share little kisses on the lips. So at least they're doing that. But other than that, like he said, we haven't moved the needle one bit. And let me tell you, Jasmin is irritated. Jasmin is upset. Jasmin is over here thinking about, I thought I taught little kids over here at this cheerleading camp. I'm dealing with a little kid sitting in front of me. She said, I thought I bred dogs and, raised dogs for a living, and I got a man for a dog. Her whole life of teaching little kids how to cheerlead and how to raise dogs is manifested here in her marriage because she only not has she not only has a child for a husband, she got a dog too. Poor Jasmin. Poor Jasmin. So he up here telling his friend, you know what? I don't know what it is why I'm not attracted to her. Maybe she needs a vibe. Still ain't looking at himself. He still hasn't thought, or maybe there's something wrong with me that I haven't been in love in 39 years. So even when I'm sitting here with this woman, I'm still not falling in love, but it's still her fault. She's the one that needs a new outfit. She needs a vibe. She needs to be funny. Now he's telling us she needs to be a doggone comedian. This boy I'm about to start calling him ignorant. I'm about to start calling him ignorant because I can't understand how you could have all these clues about yourself for 40 doggone years to be walking out on earth for 40 years, never being in love, and still believe that the problem is because the woman doesn't have a big booty and a smile and she don't know how to tell no jokes. Oh, Lordy Hammer. Like I said, he's a robot. He is a robot. And robots have no feelings. They just move through a computer program. No feelings. Like this stuff that's going around now, AI chat box. Shoot, actually AI chat box, I've been looking at that on YouTube. That might be a better boyfriend for Jasmin than this husband of Airris, because at least this AI stuff, at least they reusing lines from real people. Even the robots are more sophisticated than Airris now because these new robots is pulling real lines and they saying them to you like they're your real boyfriend. And Airris over here, he's so, let me say, I don't want to call him ignorant, slow. Let's put it that way. He's so slow, he don't even know how to Google some things. Google mental health. Let's start there, Airris. Let's Google mental health and let's Google a psychotherapy because those are two things you need help with. He talking about he don't know what he needs to do. It's called psychotherapy. That's what it's called. Google it. Google it. That's the help you need. You don't need a big booty. You don't need a comedian. You don't need a vibe. You don't need none of that. You don't need an R&B video. You need a psychotherapy. And then they have this anniversary. They have a 30-day anniversary, 1 month anniversary. And what is Airris' plan? What is Airris' plan? He plans a date at the Rage Room. Now, you just told me you needed a vibe. You needed a sexy dress. You needed some comedy. Okay? How does a Rage Room help with any of that, Airris? How does it? Because the Rage Room was for you. That's what I'm talking about. Every time he does something, he acts like it's to help. It's because it's something Jasmin needs. We said, okay. She says, well, You telling me I need to get something out of me, or do you need to get something out of you? No, Jasmin, he don't think he needs to get anything out of him because he thinks you're the one with all the problems. He thinks you need to go to a rage room to get stuff out of you. He doesn't think he has no junk inside of him. That's the problem. He thinks his insides are pure and clean when really they're contaminated. So they go to this rage room. How does that help, Airris? Does that give you a vibe? Are there jokes told inside the rage room? Is her booty gonna grow inside the rage room? Ugh. Even his ideas are ignorant and slow. I can't stand Airris. I'm telling you, I wish there was a list that could be published where men could be put on the list. And before you go out with a person, you could just go in and check the database. You know how they be having those lists in your neighborhoods, who the child predators and all this other kind of stuff. And you can go and look and make sure there ain't too many near you. I wish there was a list like that for men. Because let me tell you, I would personally go to that database and put Airris's name on it. What's his last name? What is his last? Ladies, we might need to start a list of the called non-datables. Non-datables. Stay away from these men. These men cannot be dated. Somebody, any entrepreneurs out here, y'all need to create a business where we get to put people's names on a national databases and classify them as non-datable, because Airris, he needs to be on that list until he goes and gets some psychotherapy. You know, they go this other scene, they're looking back, looking at photo albums and stuff like this, and Airris starts talking about, you know, Jasmin was saying, I know I haven't been that happy since that day. That was a happy day of my life. But since then, it's gone all downhill. Jasmin, she losing it, y'all. She is losing all her enthusiasm day by day by day. She is being worn down by this man. She really is. And you know what? I feel sorry for her, but I can see how the life is just draining out of Jasmin. I mean, somebody gonna have to come up here and do a cheer for her. All that happiness from being a Miss America or whatever she was, Miss whatever, and all that happiness from being a cheerleading girl, it is leaving her quickly. Now, for this episode, Jasmin's head was on her hand. She could barely hold her head up. This man is weighing on her heavily. So she was trying to tell him, hey, you need to put forth some effort. You need to put forth more effort. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying. How are you trying? What plan do you have? You're not trying. He says, well, I've just been in shock, and, you know, it's all a big blur. Shock and a big blur. He acted like he was kidnapped by the Taliban and then showed up at a wedding. How can you be shocked from a wedding in which you've been in the process for 4 months? I'm telling you, he ain't too bright. He is not too bright. Shock is when you find yourself somewhere and you're like, how did I get here? The way you got here in the marriage, Airris, was you applied, you signed up, and you were here. Wait a minute, Airris, did you really sign up? This goes back to what we talk about. Did Airris really sign up for Married at First Sight? Or did somebody else sign him up, just like Dom's mother signed him up? Because the way he's talking is shock and in awe, and it's all a big blur. He act like he's Mr. T. Remember Mr. T from the A-Team, and they had to put him to sleep to get him on a plane, and he would wake up in strange places? Airris acts like he's Mr. T, and somebody drugged him, and all of a sudden he woke up and was married to Jasmin. I'm telling y'all, he's not too bright. He is not too bright at all. When they sitting up here and she's like, what we gonna cheers to? And he's all talking about, hey, can we just take a sex off the table? Can we really just take sex off the table? Because it really is too much pressure for me. It really is too much pressure for me. And Jasmin was like, oh, we can take sex off the table, but does that mean we gotta take intimacy off the table too? Romance off the table? You know what? We need more romance in this marriage, and you plan a 30-day anniversary to a rage room. What the heck? How is that bringing in more romance? How is that creating more warm and fuzzy feelings? Because he doesn't want to feel any warm and fuzzy feelings, people. He doesn't want to feel those feelings, because anytime you try to make him start talking about his feelings, he diverts to the words of sex. So when they were sitting there at that romantic dinner, sipping champagne, what does Airris want to talk about? Let's take sex off the table. I want to sex. Even when they're talking to the other couples at the dinner, he starts talking about, is sex any different than if you're married or if you are just dating? Why are you asking this question? You just told Jasmin the day before that you wanted to take a sex off the table, period. Now all of a sudden you asking about, is sex better or worse or different or whatever the case may be in marriage? Why are you bringing it up? You know why he's bringing it up? Because they were talking about other things at the table, feelings, emotions, loving each other, growing in love, growing in emotions. And what does Airris like to do anytime you start talking about emotions? Sex. That's what he likes to talk about. I'm telling you, he's a robot. I don't know who programmed Airris. Whatever engineer, a computer programmer, any person out here who did this, but they must have put in some language that said anytime a conversation comes up about emotions, then do this. I told y'all I'm an engineer. I know how to program, and you can definitely program something that says anytime you're triggered by this, say this. I'm telling you, Airris not only needs a psychotherapy, he probably needs hypnosis. Somebody need to put him under. Just like he said it was all a blur. Somebody needs to put Airris under and get to the root of all this subconscious stuff going on in him. I'm telling you, it goes back, way back to when that daddy was alive and when that daddy passed away. This goes back 30 years, people. 30 years. He's telling Jasmin, we got to take sex off the table. She's like, but do we have to take intimacy off the table? Yes, Jasmin, he's got to take intimacy off the table too, because intimacy is really his real trigger. Intimacy really is what his trigger is. That's why sex is not intimate for him. Just like he told you, I have sex with plenty of women all the time. He sat up there and told the group he has had sex with past relationships where he didn't care nothing about the women. So Jasmin, he's not afraid of sex. What he's afraid of is intimacy. And what he's afraid of is if you have sex, then that's going to bring in a level of intimacy, and he doesn't want that. Now, if you didn't like him, then you know what? He probably would sleep with you. But Jasmin, don't sleep with him. Please, Jasmin, do not sleep with Airris. Do not sleep with Airris. Don't do it at all, because he really would love probably to have sex with no intimacy, sex with no feelings, sex with none of that. He's afraid of the intimacy, and what he knows is in marriage, sex should come with intimacy, and so therefore he don't even want the sex. That's where he is now. If I have to have sex with intimacy, he's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I'm so tired of Airris, people. Where is the psychotherapist on this show? Is Dr. Pepper a psychotherapist? Is she a psychotherapist? Because that's what Airris needs. Airris doesn't need any other type of person talking to him. He don't need no Dr. Cal, no religious teachings. He doesn't need any of that. He needs a psychotherapist, and he needs probably a hypnotherapist. That's what I'm telling you. And now we're moving on to Gina and Clint. And remember I told you this week was about the king and the queens of Flip. And the club, the founder of the club was Airris. The CEO of the club is Kirsten. I'm putting Nicole as a charter member of the club. She's a member. And then I'm also going to put Gina as a charter member of the club, because she's another one that's the queen of the flip. Because this is how it happened. The reason why I tell you all these people attack first is because they're really covering up stuff about themselves. That's why they attack first. The attack is to get you off of me. The attack is so you don't come close to me. The attack is so you don't come close to any of, get intimate with me or discover anything about me that you might reject. I'm now figuring out about Gina, why she decided to attack Clint first, because we all know that's what happened from the very beginning. She attacked Clint first, and I still hold true, and I say it to this day, that if Gina had never attacked Clint physically, Clint would have never attacked her back. And in fact, these two might have actually had a chance, because let me tell you, Clint's a lot of fun. Clint is a lot of fun. I would love to hang out with Clint. I can't believe I didn't like Clint. I love Clint. Clint tells so many jokes. He's so funny, has a good sense of humor. Okay? He has a good sense of humor. Now I can see why Gina attacked him. Clint is all the things Gina wished that she were. And the more that Gina saw that, I think Gina went in on him. Because let me tell you, I'm pretty sure that Gina grew up poor. She says a single mother. I think she grew up with a single mother and the mother struggled. That's what I think. I think Gina grew up poor. Like she said, she's from Arkansas. I'm not saying people in Arkansas are poor, but it's not a rich state. I don't think Gina came from money. And I think that Clint comes from a more middle-class family. I think that Clint grew up in a family where he's 8th generation boating. Boating is an expensive sport. I know. Me and my family, we boat. We do all that outdoor stuff. A boat, jet ski, water ski, camp. It's not cheap. People think people who go camping and boating is cheap. I know, it's expensive. It is expensive. So Clint grew up more in a middle class family. He grew up with a little bit of money. And when poor people come up against people who are middle class, they're already intimidated. Gina was intimidated by Clint's background, his history. She absolutely was, which is another reason why she likes to talk about all her accomplishments. Okay, that's another reason why. Because what Clint was doing was, he didn't even know he was doing it. Just by talking about his life, just by talking about where he came from. I like to sail. It sounded bougie. It sounded bougie to Gina. Oh, he's bougie. He likes to sail. He likes to do these things. He's outgoing. He's adventurous. Adventure takes money. To go on all these adventures Clint's going on, and you got to have some money. You gotta have the right hiking gear. You want to go on a fishing adventure. You gotta have the right gear. Adventure is expensive because you gotta have the right equipment. You gotta be able to get there. You gotta be able to do things. And what we find out is Gina hasn't been anywhere. They go on this little hiking trip in Tennessee. She says she don't even get outside the city. Gina has no adventure in her. She ain't been nowhere. She ain't done nothing because she grew up poor. She's not used to those things. And when she saw those parts in Clint, she got jealous of it. So then she started picking on him. Like I told you, pickiness is a way to back people up off of you, and it's because of your own insecurities. And that's what happened to Gina. So Gina, that's why she worked so hard. She don't ever want to be poor again in her life. She came from that life. I don't want to ever be poor again. Maybe if that's what she talked about, people would have had more empathy for her. Maybe if she told the story, I grew up poor. Don't just say single mother, because a lot of people grew up with single family household, but that doesn't mean they were poor. Say you were poor and say, because I was poor, and there were times when maybe we didn't even have no lights in the house or whatever else. Now I work with this level of discipline and this hard work because I never want to be there again. At least it will make people more empathetic to you. But instead what you do is you pick on people. That doesn't make people feel empathetic towards you. Now that I know who Gina really is, I make it feel a little bit more sorry for her. Because now I realize all this stuff is a cover up for her background in her life, right? When she starts to tell us next week that, you know what, she gets along with women, but she can't with men. Why? Because there's probably trauma behind there. I don't trust men, so therefore you attack men from the very beginning. There was no reason why she had to attack Clint from the beginning on his looks. There was no reason for it, but to be able to establish a level of dominance over him because she was feeling like he had one over her just because of his life. Let me say that again. She had to establish a level of superiority and dominance over Clint in the very beginning. That's why she used his looks, because she was feeling inferior to him. And so what she had to do was make herself feel better than him. And what she used was his looks. And then she tried to use all this business stuff as well. I'm a salon owner. I'm a mogul. I'm the next Rihanna. It's to establish dominance and superiority over people, because the truth of the matter is she actually feels less than them. She feels less than them because she hasn't experienced a lot in life in terms of adventure or trips. None of this. She's done none of that. None of it. She's a lie. She's a lie. And her home life, her family life, no. She doesn't come from any money. She doesn't come from the things that Clint has grown up doing, sailing. He's talking about going and sailing around the world. Gina probably don't have but maybe a 1 stamp on her passport. 1. Out of the country. Probably 1 stamp. Now I know where all this comes from. But this is why people need therapy, because then what happens is you show up in relationships the wrong way. You should have shown up in the relationship with a different position, but she showed up in the relationship aggressive. But you know what? It's turning around. It's turning around, people. I was happy to see it. I actually enjoyed their segments. They're laughing. They're joking. But I don't know if it's going to work, because I don't know if Gina could ever get over the way she started this relationship. I think that Clint could. I think Clint could get over it. But I don't know if Gina could, because Gina really is very, very insecure. I think Clint might just be too much for her. I'm telling you, Clint is funny. He's outgoing. Looks like he got a little money to him. He's got a little sophistication to him because he uses big words. He's intelligent. I think he intimidates Gina. When they sit and they talk, we talk about the robot Airris and never looks at Jasmin when he talks because he doesn't want anyone to look into his soul. Gina does the same thing with Clint. Gina don't look at Clint when she's talking to him. Gina looks out into space just like Airris because what they're trying to do is they're trying to hide. Their soul is trying to hide from you. They don't want you to really see them. That's why Gina didn't even want to live with him. Remember, Gina didn't even want to live in the apartment. Talking about we're better off living apart. How, Gina? You can live in the other bedroom. She didn't want to be in the house because she didn't want Clint to have any more ammunition into who she really is. She's trying to hide from him because of her own insecurities. When they went on this redneck a tour bus, Gina knew all the terms. Gina knew all the terms on this redneck a tour bus because guess what? She's from Arkansas. That's who Gina is. I'm not going to call her that because I think that's kind of, some people take offense to that word, so I'm not going to say that's what she is, but she's used to seeing it. She's used to being around it. She's from Arkansas. She knew all of the answers, all of them. The people who were lost were the people like Nicole from New York, New Jersey. There she like, what the heck? What are these terms? But I got family from the South. I even knew some of them terms. But let me tell you, Gina is from Arkansas, probably lived in a trailer park and was poor with lights getting cut off. That's probably who Gina is. That's where Gina comes from. She needs to tell that story. She needs to tell that story instead of telling the story about how she's a salon owner with a 26-inch size waist and she's athletic and adventurous. Girl, can we get the real Gina? Can we get the real Gina? She's in the club of the queen of the flip because she blames everything, or she was blaming everything on Clint. But I'm going to give her a hall pass this week, y'all, because Gina is doing much better, and I really, really did enjoy their interaction. But Clint is carrying this marriage. I mean, he's carrying it with his lightheartedness. He's carrying it with his humor. I'm going to just dote on him a little while because I've spent so many episodes before talking about Clint. I'm going to dote on him for a while. He is funny. He brings a lighthearted conversation almost to every conversation. He brings a joke. He brings something funny. He's outdoors. He's adventurous. He's a lot of things. He has ambition. I'm telling you, I actually think Clint would make a good mate from somebody because I think the negatives that I saw with Clint earlier on, I think they're manageable. And I think what Clint is he's a fighter. He knows how to fight back. So when Gina came at him, it means that he learned how to fight back. But it goes back to what I said about this whole big D energy. If you don't bring that out in him, he wouldn't even bring it out. This is why I tell people, don't be trying to make people be something that they're not. If Gina had never bucked up and said those things, I don't believe Clint would have said those things to him because I actually don't think he's a mean-spirited person anymore. I don't think that. I don't think it at all. I really would hang. If I'm ever in Nashville, Clint, I'm going to call you up and we can go out and have some moonshine because I know that moonshine put you under. It put you under. He was eating cold pizza the next day. That's why you know you hung over. When you eating cold pizza and trying to put some bread on your stomach, you know you drank too much. You drank too much. But that moonshine sounded good. I never had all them different flavors of moonshine. I really haven't, but I would love to try it. I would absolutely love to try it. I've never been in Nashville. I hear it's a fun city, but the next time if I ever get there, I'm gonna definitely check that place out and try those flavors of moonshine because that peanut butter and jelly and all those different flavors, it sounded good, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, it sounded really good. I actually think these two could have worked out because I actually can see how in the past Clint might have dated women who were, like he said, slim and slender and might have been a little ditzy up here in the head. And the truth of the matter is the fact that Gina is a businesswoman and she's very strong-minded and she's determined, I think Clint does like that about her because I think that maybe he might have dated women who might not have had that trait. And I think he appreciates that in her, but she's a little bit too much of it, right? I think that if she could learn how to have a little bit more fun, learn that from Clint, he would appreciate her hard working side, but she would need to learn how to let up. And if she got rid of this veneer that she has, if she got rid of the veneer, she might could move into that space. If she got in touch with the reason why she worked so hard, if she got in touch with that, it is what Clint said to her when she said, have you ever had a contributor in your life? Gina was always talking about paying bills and paying payroll. He says, but have you ever had a contributor? And the answer to that, Clint, is no. Not only has she never not had a contributor and it was all on her, she's never seen a male contributor in a house. She didn't grow up with a father in the house who went out and worked and brought money home. All she saw was a mother who had to make all the money, and that's what she looks at with her household. I've got to make all the money. I've got to do it all myself because I don't even know what it looks like. And so when a man comes along like a Clint, who is a contributor, she doesn't know what to do with them. I really hope these two can turn it around, y'all. I cannot believe I'm here, but I really hope these two can turn it around in this marriage, that they can find a place and they can make it. I'm starting to root for them. How many episodes we got this season? Is it going to go to 20 episodes like it did? We only on number 11. That means we got 9 more episodes. But you know what? I know it ain't going to work out because we keep seeing those clips of Clint when he was kissing on Dom. Oh, heck. My reality just came back. But we find out that guess who probably spoiled it first? Because we saw that other clip. We saw the other clip of when Lion Mac says he drops down in Gina's DMs. So now we're going to figure out who did it first. Did Clint kiss Dom first, or did Mac drop down in Gina's DMs first? I'm going to say that Mac dropped down in Gina's DMs first. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that Mac dropped down in Gina's DMs first, and then after that, Clint did what he knows how to do, and that he knows how to get back. Clint doesn't throw the first punch. He counterpunches. Just like on the put down, he counterpunched Gina. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to say that Mac dropped down in Gina's DMs, and Gina didn't do anything about it, and it made Clint mad, and Clint's get back is to kiss Dom. But the culprit, the one who started it, was, like I told you, Lion Mac with no boundaries. I told you who I knew who Mac was. I think he started it, y'all. I'm going to believe that Mac started it. Gina didn't do anything because Gina's insecure, and she would love that. You know, she would love to feel like that. And I think then maybe Clint got offended, and that's why he and Dom kissed on the get back. But we'll see. So yeah, I guess I can't be too hopeful because we already see how it ends. They should have never showed us that. I would have started to root for Gina and Clint. If I hadn't seen them clips, I would be rooting for Gina and Clint right now. But I can't root for them because now I know that it ain't gonna end like that. Oh well. A work of the Married at First Sight, episode 11. This is season 16. And this is for the after party, y'all. This is for the after. So on the after party, there was Airris, there was Shaq, and then there was the other guy who comes on there periodically named Justin. I think he has a podcast. Is his name Justin Day? I don't remember what his name is, but it's Justin. And so it was Airris and it was Shaq were the two cast members that were on the show. And so they opened up right away, started talking about the scene where Kirsten's over there talking about she needs him to hug her and kiss on her and love on her. And he ain't doing his job in that area. And when he comes home, he needs to run over to the couch and give her a hug and a kiss and embrace her. Be sure to watch my video on them because I go in on Kirsten this week. But I guess I've been doing all the weeks. But they talked about that, but Shaq is just saying, I'm just so confused. I'm so confused. And the reason why you confused is because she really not trying to solve no problems. So she's just trying to blame. I done started a new club out here. It's called the Kings and Queens of the Flip. And Airris is the founder and Kirsten is the CEO. And the other cast members, Gina and Nicole, are members, charter members of the organization. But Shaq says he don't know what to do. He does not know what to do. He makes a move. She tells him to back up. And the reason why he's confused is because Kirsten tells two different stories. When she's with her friends, she tells the story that the reason why there's no intimacy is because of Shaq. But then when she's with Shaq and Shaq wants to make a move or do something, she tells him, no, you can't make a move and come closer because there's something else you need to do first. So she keeps you moving around. She keeps you moving around so you never really figure out what the real solution is. And she gets to sit back and watch you run around and chase your tail. And she never has to do anything because you're too busy trying to figure out what the problem is. She is the queen of the flip and the queen of confusion. Keisha's over here asking, well, do you know about any of these feelings that Kirsten has? And he says, no, not really, because she don't talk. She doesn't talk. She doesn't open her mouth. And then when he says, well, what do you mean? You guys don't have any conversations? He goes, well, the conversation starts like this. She says, let's have a conversation. We say, let's have a conversation. But then what the conversation turns into is her just asking me a bunch of questions. That's her style of communication. Her style of communication is asking questions, not her answering them. And so what Kirsten does is, because Kirsten's a scared little girl on the inside, Kirsten wants to ask 50 billion questions, and the way that she feels comfortable is going to be for you to answer 50 billion questions, but you don't get to ask any. That's the key. She can ask all the questions. She wants you to be available. She wants quality time. She wants you to be around. She wants you to hold her. She wants you to, say sweet things to her. She wants you to chase her. She wants to talk to you, but she wants you to do all the talking. She wants to do all the listening, because what she's saying is, the more that I listen to you, then eventually I'll say something. But when does that eventually happen? According to her, is when she wants it to happen. But you got to keep on talking. And I'm like, that ain't communication. That's one-way conversation. Kirsten thinks that's communication. That's not communication, because all she's doing is listening and she's not doing any talking. Most people, the problem is all they do is talk and they don't listen. Kirsten got the other problem. She don't want to talk about nothing deep, nothing on the inside. She's so scared. I'm telling you, between her and Airris, they may need to get a psychotherapist, a 2-for-1. A 2-for-1. Are there any deals going on? A buy one session, get one free, a 50% off the second session. They need to go ahead and sign up for that, because they both need some real help, more than any wife or husband can do for them. Shaq says he be trying to test the boundary. He said he has tried to test the boundaries and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all, because she's really slow. And even Airris said, yeah, it's so weird to watch. Even Airris said it. He said, because what Kirsten does is when Kirsten was talking to Jasmin, she tells Jasmin that all Shaq needs to do is light a candle and turn on some R&B music. So even Airris says he's confused by Kirsten, because she says one thing and does another. I know all of you out here think that Kirsten is acting. She's not acting. She's not that good of an actress. She don't even know how to think real deeply. She doesn't even know how could she remember all these lines for 8 weeks? People think that Kirsten is acting. She's not acting. Kirsten really is a fun girl. She does like to have fun. She does like to laugh and have a good time, but with women. She has a completely different persona with men. Okay? Her constipation with her emotion is coming from with men. It's not with women. Okay, she's outgoing with women, but it's an intimate relationship, sharing those deep sides of her. That's where she has the problem. She doesn't want to talk about those things. Any other conversation, she's more than willing to talk about it. But when it comes to her deep emotions, she don't want to have nothing to do with that. Just like Airris. Airris can talk. He has a lot of conversation. But when it comes to talking about his emotions, his default thing is to talk about sex. He doesn't want to talk about emotions. So then he starts talking about indiscriminate, non-emotional sex. That's what he diverts to when he doesn't want to talk about a real emotional stuff. And Kirsten, when she doesn't want to talk about her emotions, we know what she does. She blames you and starts telling you what you need to do. They're the king and the queen of the flip. The king and the queen of the flip. Even Justin on here, the guest, he was saying Kirsten has a whole lot of high standards, but with zero flexibility. Exactly. And that's how you stay in a position where you don't have to do nothing. You have high standards for the person you're dealing with to tell them what they need to do, but then you have no flexibility in those standards. So then what happens is they never really can hit the mark, because guess what? Nobody can ever reach those standards. No one can ever be that. So that's what you do when you want to keep people away. High standards, zero flexibility. You either get it 100% right or you fail. It's like you taking a test and the test is pass or fail. There's no partial credit. There's no B, A minus, B, C, D. No, it's either you get all the questions right or you fail. That's how Kirsten grades. It's a pass or fail. You either get 100% or you fail. High standards, zero flexibility. But Shaq said he is tired. But the one thing Shaq did admit in this after party that now what's going on is a war of the egos. Because he was like, you know what, now she is starting to make some progress, but he's a little sour and bitter because he got an ego too. I told you these two had a lot in common. And one of the things they did have in common was Kirsten was used to men chasing her. So that's why she feels comfortable telling Shaq, oh, you need to keep chasing me. And Shaq was used to women chasing him. I'm telling you, Shaq is out here as a single black man, educated, making a good salary, a good looking, and he's used to women chasing him. And Kirsten was doing no chasing. So now that Kirsten is slowly coming around, it's slow as molasses. His ego is like, well, you know what? At first you didn't want me, and now you up all on me. And you think all of a sudden now I'm supposed to do what you say or when you want to say, how you want to say it. He's saying no. Now he's sitting over in this corner mad with his ego. And he admitted it. He said his ego talking now. He said his ego talking. And Keisha Knight Pulliam called it right. It's fear with Kirsten and his ego with Shaq now. I sure hope he can come off his ego tip, and I hope she can come off this fear tip, because I'm really still hopeful for these two, because I think they have enough good things in common that they could do well together. But he talks about this quality time, and he was saying, you know, quality time for him will be going out, having fun, and doing things. Remember when he said, are they going to be lit out here in these streets? Shaq want to dress up in a nice outfit with his bow tie, with his fancy suits. He want to go out. He said Kirsten want to sit at home on the couch and pepper him with 1,000 questions, but she don't want to answer no questions. Shaq, like, this ain't my idea of a good time. He says, I'm sitting in the office all day dealing with people or talking all day, and you want me to come home and sit on the couch? Let's go out. Let's have a drink. Let's do something. Let's have some fun. They both sorority, fraternity people. I'm sure they both like to go out and have some fun. And Kirsten want to sit on the couch and ask him a million questions, but then when he asks her a question, she don't want to answer no questions. Shaq is fit to be tied with this girl. Shaq is fit to be tied. Airris was over there talking about Kirsten needs to get her shit together. The founder and CEO of the King of the founder of the King and Queens of Flip is telling his CEO she need to get her shit together. Airris is like, you can't outdo me in the area of the flip. I'm the founder, Kirsten. You can't be better at it than me. You need to get your shit together. That was crazy. And then they switch over to Airris, and Airris when his friend was talking about what you need to do to make the situation better. Because like I said, Airris don't like to be the one that has to do anything. And now Airris is talking about they need to go out and listen to live music because that's something they both like. I thought the problem was a big booty and a smile, Airris. I thought it was because she don't look like Lauren London and Serena Williams. And let me tell you, Jasmin is pretty. Jasmin got a nice body. Y'all see her in that nice little body outfit she had on? Jasmin, she may be slim, real slim, but she got a booty on her. Jasmin has a booty on her, and Jasmin looks beautiful. A beauty queen with a booty. And here you got Airris over here trying to talk about she's not attractive. That is such BS. That is such BS. Like I told you, he is the king of the flip. Be sure to watch all my videos because I break this theory down on the kings and queens of the flip. But he is the founder of it. Robot Airris is the founder. He's over here trying to talk about Jasmin's look. Jasmin is really pretty. Sure, she got those little things going on with the bottom of her teeth, but she's going to get that fixed. I guarantee you, by the time we see where are they now or what are these other things after, Jasmin's teeth's going to be fixed, and Jasmin's going to be out here. She ain't going to need no Airris. She ain't going to need no Airris at all. But now he over here talking about they need to go out and listen to some live music. So now it's not the big booty and the smile. Then he was like he needs a vibe. Then he needs her to wear something. And now all of a sudden we need to go out and listen to live music. He comes up with everything that Jasmin needs to do to get him feeling a certain kind of way when he don't come up with nothing he needs to do. I'm telling you, your answer is psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is the answer. Psychotherapy. That's what you need. Mental health care. Justin said he respected Airris for not having any sex with Jasmin. I don't call it respect. It's not called respect. He's still protecting himself. He's still protecting himself because what he knows is when he was having sex with women that he wasn't married to, there was no chance of any type of intimacy happening, either between the woman and him or him and the woman. So when he's decided not to have sex with Jasmin, he's not protecting Jasmin. He's protecting himself. He doesn't want to feel any of that. He always loves to flip stuff. Airris is always going to protect himself. He's not protecting Jasmin. He's protecting himself. He's the one that's afraid of intimacy, not Jasmin. He's afraid of it. He's protecting himself. He's not doing this so there's no respect I'm going to give him for that. I don't want Jasmin to have sex with him. Absolutely not. But I'm not going to give him any kudos for it because he's doing what he always does. He's protecting himself. And in this situation, by him protecting himself, it does protect Jasmin. I do believe that. But he's not doing it for Jasmin. He's doing it for himself. There's a difference. There's a difference when you do something with the sole intent to protect another person versus when you do something to protect yourself, but it also protects another person, because it comes from two different places. Everything that Airris does comes from a selfish place. Even going to that rage room came from a selfish place. It didn't come from the place of helping Jasmin. Jasmin don't need to get no rage out by hitting stuff. That came from a place from him because he didn't want an intimate date. Airris didn't want an intimate date. He didn't want candles and champagne and a lot of stuff surrounding intimacy that might be romantic. He wanted a rage room. He wanted to be so far away from intimacy as possible. He wanted to be in a rage room. He didn't want to be in no intimate romantic room. He wanted to be in a rage room. He did that for himself. Like I said, anytime Airris gets uncomfortable talking about emotions, he goes right to a sex question, just like when he was having that discussion with everybody about at the dinner table. He started asking about is sex different between married and when you're whatever. Watch my video on Airris. I'm so sick of him. I'm so sick of him. And then you got Shaq over here mad at Kirsten because she aired their dirty laundry out in public, saying we got problems behind closed doors. And Shaq was like, we should be keeping our dirty laundry behind closed doors. Like I said, they both are into the appearance. I told you, both of them kind of got some superficial things to them. And what Shaq was mad at was, don't be telling people that in public, or we keep that behind closed doors. Well, it ain't gonna never come out, Shaq, because if she didn't say it in public, she definitely ain't gonna say it behind closed doors because she don't want to talk about it. Because like he said, what happens with the discussion afterwards? He said, well, when we leave the restaurant and we leave, we don't even talk about it. She acts like it never happened. When I try to bring it up, she said, oh, well, let's leave that alone. That's in the past. Because she doesn't want to have the discussion. She doesn't want to have any discussion about intimate emotions and feelings. She doesn't want to have it. Why would she want to bring it up? Like I said, the kings and queens of the flip, the kings and queens of avoiding emotional conversation, that's Airris and Kirsten, both of them, king and queen of avoidance. Shaq tells us Nicole is over here inserting herself in people's marriages way too much. Not only was she asking all those questions at the dinner, he tells us that almost on a lot of bases, I don't know if it's every night, Nicole writes notes on pieces of paper, slips it under the door of Kirsten and Shaq's apartment door, telling them what they need to do in their marriage. Talking about, this is what you need to do to have more intimacy. Tell each other sweet nothings. Is Nicole the new expert? Is Nicole the new expert? I guess she said these experts are nowhere to be found. So since these experts are nowhere to be found, I'm going to step in and be the expert. Nicole says she is slipping the notes under the door, telling Shaq, make sure you kiss your wife before you go to bed. Make sure you do that. I sure hope she's giving Kirsten some advice, and I hope she's not believing all these stories Kirsten is talking about. I really do hope that. And then Justin was saying, well, you know what you ought to do with that? You ought to tell her, take that note that Nicole sent, go to your wife and say, hey, Nicole is telling us to do this little freaky thing. Maybe we should try it. Maybe we should do it. And Shaq said, I have done that. I have taken the note to her and said, hey, look at this crazy note that Nicole slipped under the door. And you know what Kirsten says? Kirsten said, Nicole, she's so crazy. She's so crazy. Nicole... Kirsten ain't doing that. Kirsten is not doing anything that's too intimate. We do see on these episodes coming that they're going to be tonguing it down. We're going to be tonguing it down. This week we saw a kiss on the cheek. Next week we see a little bit of a tongue action. I'm here for it. I really hope that Kirsten is ready to come out this little a safe room she put up for herself, this fort that she's put around her, and she's ready to step out there and kiss a man within 30 days. 30 days. Because if not, she's going to be on that show, not Married at First Sight. She's going to be on that show, How to Lose a Man in 30 Days. Because if she keeps this up, not even giving a kiss, she's going to be on the show, How to Lose a Man in 30 Days. Kirsten going to need to write a whole book on how do you lose a man in 30 days. Because she's doing good at that. But Airris, like everybody else, they was happy to see Shaq stand up for himself a little bit more in this episode. They were happy to see him be a little bit stronger and stand up to Kirsten a little bit more and start pushing her. That's probably what's going to need to be happening. But I talk about them in my video. I do say there's some things that Shaq needs to do better. Watch my video on that. I'll go into that, or what some of the things I think he needs to do better in the relationship. But just in the guest, he did have some good advice at the end. He said, if you want to get different results, if you want to get something that you've never had, then you have to do something you never had. And what Kirsten is doing is she's trying to have something different, but she's still doing the same playbook she's always done. And she actually needs to do something different. But she's hanging in there, or she is hanging in there.